We continue to focus on that quiet conditions so far this morning. Looking at the airport, things are moving smoothly at this hour. And as we go over the course of the next few hours, I'll point out what happened the last couple of days. We've been seeing this spin. It's kind of sad here. A little weak disturbance. And what it's done is generated enough lift for a few storms. And you've seen what happened yesterday. Peak heating of the day, 12:30, 1 o'clock, a few storms. And even further to the north end of Metro East. Not out of the question that one or two of those exist today, but I think it's very minimal. Right now, though, temperatures continue to rise up as we work our way into the upper 70s. It's warm. It's the warmest spot in the region by far. And honestly, we're going to continue to see those numbers climb closer to 90 degrees today as we start off with not much breeze, quiet conditions, and also temperatures that are holding steady. Right now, 79 degrees. It feels like 82. A little bit of breeze. Not much, though. It's kind of sticky outside. Dew point in the low 70s, pretty standard, really, for this time of the year. And over the course of the next few days, we're going to continue to see our dew points rise in the mid-70s. That humidity is really going to be coming to fruition in terms of heavy rainfall locally in some cases, but also you're going to feel it. And so it goes up over the course of the next few hours. Now, like I mentioned, not out of the question for one or two storms as I run Futurecast, but look at 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Not much, right? I would expect that trend continues. You're going to have a nice day today. Temps the next few hours are working their way into the mid-80s pretty quickly by lunchtime and then close to 90 by this afternoon. No problems whatsoever. I want to point out the course of the last 24 hours because you can see that we have this whole mess of storms. This is what is deemed the monsoon season when we have really wind that moves right over the top of the mountains, and it brings moisture, and that's where we see that area of lift, and that's where we see storms during the day. Now, sometimes those disturbances work their way over into the Dakotas and then move toward us, and that's the case sometimes as well. Now, at this particular time, one thing I want to point out is we have this high off to the southwest. You'll see where that direction, or that wind direction is, and that's where it uses the Four Corners region and that direction of kind of driving up some of that wind there. But otherwise, it is a sinking air provider and also provides a lot of heat for those areas. But on the edge of it, this time of the year, if we're going to see severe weather, it is usually on the edge of some of these ridges. Sometimes they're called ridge riders, and they really go on the edge of this ridge, and they interact with better ingredients for slightly cooler air, because otherwise it's hot all the way up, 40,000 feet above the surface, and there's not really thunderstorm development. That hot air suppresses thunderstorm development, but that hot air combined with cooler air, that's enough to kind of break the cap of that hot air, and that's what we're going to see here as well by Thursday and Friday. Now, that is why we have a slight risk for severe weather in our area. And you'll notice that that really stretches from about Blue Springs, Concordia, all the way close to Indy. Now, anywhere along 64 and 70, that's where you're kind of dealing with this, right? So from a standpoint of severe weather, yes, that is where we're going to see the opportunity. However, what does that mean for us here ahead? Well, I think we're going to start off Thursday dry. There's no doubt about it. I think it's a lot like today, maybe a little bit warmer. Now, as we go throughout the next few hours, we're going to stay hot and humid. And as we build that heat into the low to mid 90s, we have plenty of fuel for storms. And that's where we're going to see that disturbance off to the northwest come our way. How it looks like exactly remains to be seen, but I want you to be paying attention for the potential for severe weather development as early as 2 or 3 o'clock in some cases, especially off to the northwest. As those storms develop, hold together, break apart, or push together, the radar will look a lot different than what Futurecast is telling me. So this particular run of Futurecast brings a few scattered showers and storms, and I think that trend continues even through the evening and closer to sunset. Now, I've got this at 1:30, and is it still raining? Yes, particularly on this run of Futurecast. Does it mean it's guaranteed to rain at 1? Not necessarily. It could be sped up by 2 or 3 hours or vice versa. I think that's a likelihood. However, what I want to point out is look how it is not as aggressive. We're not going to see as aggressive storm fuel overnight. We start to see that fade. So this is not an overnight severe weather threat. This is from about 2 to 11. We have wind gusts at 60 miles an hour. That is the threat tomorrow. And I just want you to be able to stay aware during the commute simply because we may see rapidly changing conditions. Those storms develop, they create some wind, they create localized power outages or trees down, limbs down somewhere, and you don't see it. That could be something that we pay close attention to during the evening. Is it a guarantee for everybody? Not necessarily, right? You may avoid severe weather completely, or we'll see just 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Not out of the question. We want you to be prepared for it. It's July, but really the wind gusts are our main threat tomorrow. Could we see some smaller hail? Not out of the question. Could we see localized flooding depending on how those storms push together? Not out of the question as well. Could we see a tornado? Not really. This is just mainly a wind threat. So like I said, if you want to track the storms, you can use the 24/7 live radar. It's a whole different app that's just radar, and you can take a look at it at any time, stream it on the TV. You're maybe streaming it now, but if you're looking on your app and you want to use somebody else's phone to add it to your TV, it's on there too. Mid-90s here. Weather impact alert for tomorrow. Most of that is late in the day. Scattered showers Friday into Saturday. There's a possibility somewhere through the region could see a few stronger storms Friday and Saturday, depending on where that front moves. So that's really important. But otherwise, I do think we dry out. And then that ridge that we talked about builds back in, and it really warms us up and dries us out. I don't think it's quite as humid, so it's not. That's why you're not seeing the overnight lows at around